Welcome to The Connection Code, a podcast where we explore the relationships that make your life and work just a little bit better.
Hi, I'm Rachel Gilman-Rischel. I'm the founder of 3PR, which is a PR firm focused on better for you food brands. And my other passion, introducing people that should know each other.
And I'm Gina Anderson Cohen. I spent years building a company that tricked adults into making friends through fitness called A Sweat Life. And now I'm working on a boutique hotel and event space in New Buffalo, Michigan, that's really focused on gathering in one lovely location. I am obsessed with friendship, events, and gathering.
And guess who's going to be at Petite Acres this weekend? Me. Oh, I cannot wait to come see your baby, this passion project, to experience it firsthand and essentially just share all my glowing feedback online.
Hang out.
And hang out. Yes. Okay, Gina, our big question today is inspired by a pretty amazing guest that I'm just like still smiling over the conversation that we had with. Kirsten Ferguson is a Peloton instructor, a Peloton running instructor. And with that in mind, I wanted to ask you, how do you connect to yourself through movement and fitness?
Well, that is the story of my life, Rachel.
It is. It's a big question.
It's a big question. I think it's been an evolving relationship, the way I view movement, the way I view fitness. Today, the way I view movement and fitness is one of like a show of strength. Yes. A show of what I can do, a show of what my body can do, but also an act of love for myself to sort of remind me that I am in this life for the long haul and want my body to kind of come on that journey with me too. What I think it's evolved from, and maybe you recognize yourself in this story too, but what it's evolved from is movement being more of an act of trying to beat myself into something, whether that meant being smaller, being skinnier, punishing myself for the pizza, the donut, the whatever that I had that I wanted to work off. And I think that evolution can be a really natural part of getting older, but I also think it can be a really natural part of learning to love who you are and your body and the strength that you have too. What about you, Rachel?
I agree with you fully. And the word that came to mind is that exercise for me for many years felt punitive. And I actually just kind of had a sad memory. I just recalled being in college and not being in the best headspace about all of this. And I think I'd had like a bunch of candy or something. And I remember the thought that accompanied all the candy was, oh, I'm going to have to do so much time on the elliptical now. It was like fucking elliptical. God, you know what I don't spend time with anymore?
Yeah.
An elliptical.
Yeah.
But that was the relationship. It's like I've made an unhealthy choice, so now I have to make a healthy choice to counteract it. It was not about this is going to make me feel good or make me stronger. So the epiphany that movement has had for me has been really later in life, except for walking, which I've always enjoyed and always found to be very meditative and healing and wonderful. I didn't love exercising. But then we joined this gym and I realized two things. I really like group fitness, not because I'm coordinated and not because I'm so good at it, but I like having a relationship, surprise, surprise, with an instructor, and I like having friends in the class. Even if they're just gym friends, there's this little sense of like, you belong here and we expect your presence here. And if the instructor's like, Rachel, good job, or like, hey, Rachel, lift your leg higher, I feel like I'm included and I love that. And then the second thing started off on a funny note, but about a year and a half ago, my husband, Ruben, said, I'm worried about your longevity. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, he had been reading this book and he got concerned that I was going to have brittle bones and essentially like crumble to dust as I got older. He's like, you have to lift heavier weights. And I said, I'm happy.
I love that.
I know. It was such a funny thing for a husband to say because it's not like he was like, I'm worried about your fitness or your size and it's your longevity.
Yeah, that's a good thing to worry about.
He's like, you need to lift heavier weights. And I said, I agree. I'm not going to do that independently. Let's just be honest. I go, you find me a trainer and I will show up for it. So Ruben hunted down this trainer and her name's Cindy and she's wonderful. And I'm 5'2" and she is smaller than me, but she's a powerhouse. And we have been on a 1.5 year lifting journey, and she is pushing me, and I'm getting stronger, and I'm shoving that sled down the field, and I'm doing pull-ups, and I'm doing the squat rack. And nobody would ever look at me and be like, God, Rachel, you're so muscular. But that's okay because I feel stronger. And I think that's exactly. And I think my longevity might be better. I'm calling it.
Do you know the name of the book that Ruben read? Was
Yes.
it Outlive?
The author has since been canceled, but it was Outlive. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's been canceled, Rachel. The science in that book has a lot of validity. We can find another book to reference too, but Outlive.
Yeah, but Outlive scared Ruben into thinking I wouldn't.
Yeah. There was another like longevity book. Dr. Casey, who was then also canceled. She was selected as.
I'm not trying to laugh. It's just like you don't think of doctors as being so controversial.
Well, she was selected as the Health and Human Services lead by the current administration. So a lot of her work was invalidated by the political landscape. But again, like there are good nuggets in there. Like lifting heavy is so good for you, good for your longevity, good for your mental health. I also want to point out that my relationship, I had a lot of moments where I had to like hold back because when Kirsten was chatting through the imposter syndrome that comes with leading fitness, I experienced too. So I spent years as a fitness instructor. I was given a really lovely opportunity to be a Nike training coach for a number of years, and that puts you in a place where you are positioned to feel like everybody knows more than you. And that is just the nature of the industry until you don't care anymore, until you learn to recognize like the things I know are important. They are different than the things this person knows who was a strength and conditioning coach at the University of blah, blah, blah. Like the things that I know matter to this group of people. So I'm going to bring that to the table. So my relationship with fitness in that regard has changed as well. Because I view command presence, public speaking for myself as a direct result of having to learn to get in front of a room and say to myself, like, there is a number of people in this room, it might not be everyone, who want me to succeed and who will benefit from what I am doing here today. And so that's what I say to myself in every public speaking situation now too.
I love that pep talk. And you have just natural leadership qualities. And I think you're meant to stand up in front of people and guide them. So it feels like a natural fit to me.
It does feel like a natural fit, but I used to turn beet red and sweat and not be able to do it. So I think like maybe it's age, maybe it's not giving a fuck.
I mean, to Kirsten's point, to teach a running class and motivate people while running is a special form of hell for me personally. And I put her on like absolutely high platform. I wanted to say pinnacle. I wanted to say peak.
Pedestal.
To be able, thank you. The word that I was looking for was pedestal. It starts with a P. Yes, it's a special skill set and I'm in awe, which means I should read her glowing bio because she is so impressive.
Wait, before you read her bio, Rachel, you've been running.
I have. I didn't want to bring that up because how obnoxious would that be? But
not obnoxious. I feel like she would have loved it. But you have been running.
When she was talking about the amateurs, I was like, hello. Yes, I've been trying to take a run once a week. I run a bit like a duck. I wouldn't say my form is the envy of anybody, but I am trying to get better at it. And I think the trying is the thing.
If you run, you're a runner.
Also, you will never see better looking people in Chicago than a summer night on the lake. So if you want to see the cutest people in Chicago, go running by the lake. Yeah. Hot tip. Okay. We have Kirsten. Kirsten Ferguson, a successful career woman turned fitness instructor. She wholeheartedly embraces the changes that life brings. After 7 years of working for the NFL, she shifted her focus to family. Kirsten's journey to motherhood was not easy, and I loved her vulnerability around this, and fitness helped her strengthen her body and soul during difficult times. She's now the proud mother of 2 beautiful daughters, who I love seeing on Instagram, and she uses her life experiences to fuel her deeply inspiring workouts. So excited to welcome Kirsten Ferguson. Kirsten, thank you so much for joining the Connection Code. You are just a vision.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies. I appreciate it. This is fun.
Well, I always like to start with how we got connected to a guest. And I think we have a rather nice backstory. So I was going to share it real quick.
Go for it.
I think a couple months ago, you were working with Mush, the wonderful overnight oats brand, on a Peloton event, and I got to go as their publicist. And you just emitted like warmth and radiance and energy. And I was like, I want to know her, as did everybody else at the event. But we started chatting, and you had Chicago ties. You also have 2 daughters. And then we've stayed in touch ever since. And you were just kind enough to say yes today.
Yeah. I mean, and you also have infectious energy. So it takes one to know one.
Thank you. Well, we have a lot we want to know about you, but I figured we would rewind to the beginning because as a Peloton instructor, there must be some deep roots of physicality and movement. So I want to know what kind of kid you were, and were you athletic and active, and like, where did this all stem from?
You know, it's interesting. I look back at my youth and I was active. I played basketball, not by choice. I was the tallest one in the 4th grade. And my gym teacher was like, "You're playing basketball." And so I joined the all boys team in elementary school. And so really had no choice. And so from there, all the way through high school, I played basketball. But that was it. Like, I wasn't a multi-sport kid. It was basketball or nothing for me. And then my mom got sick my final year of high school. And so I stopped playing and just focused on her and her health. And then I moved to New York City to go to college and took a big hard left and went to fashion school. So it's like, I always say, I hung up my Nikes for some stilettos, moved to New York. I thought I was going to be this like fashion icon. And learned really early on, like fashion wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, I just thought I would shop for a living and it wasn't quite that. So transitioned from that, studied advertising and marketing communications. And then I got a job at the NFL as a temp assistant in sponsorship marketing. And it was interesting because I went to the interview and they were like, "We don't have anything in PR." At the time I wanted to be in PR. And they were like, "We don't have anything in PR, but we have an opportunity for you in sponsorship." And I was like, amazing. I love sponsorship. The woman leaves. I start Googling, what is sponsorship?
Yeah.
Listen, you got to make it till you make it. Okay. And I live by that.
Yes.
And so needless to say, I got the job, worked at the NFL for 7 years, worked my way up to being a manager of multi-billion-dollar accounts for the NFL. My last project was the Beyonce Super Bowl halftime show. So it's kind of like mic drop after that. Left the NFL and thought that I wanted to just have a family and live happily ever after and focus on that for a while. And then I went through a pretty long fertility journey filled with highs and lows. You know, I lost 2 babies and things just weren't happening the way in which I thought it was going to be. I thought you get married, you wait a little, you know, and then children just happen. And that wasn't my story, unfortunately. And so as I was navigating that fertility journey is when I fell in love with fitness. And I started cycling in a dark room, and I could go and I could turn off the world and I could cry and I could just not be like, at that time in my life, I felt like everybody was having children and I was the one person on the planet that it was not happening for. And that was really hard. You know, you open your social media and there's birth announcements and, you know, bridal baby showers. And it was just really hard. And so for me, my safe place was working out. And so after that journey, you know, I do have now Eden and Emery Ferguson, who are the loves of my life. It was interesting. I dealt with a lot of guilt around this, but after I had them, I was like, man, I still feel like something's missing. Like, I love being a mom, but something's still missing. And I was still really passionate about fitness. And somebody was like, "Why don't you be an instructor?" I'm like, "Because I'm a single mom. I'm in my 30s. Like, it's not time for just a career shift." But then something inside me was like, why not just try it and see what happens? And so I went to an audition. for Soul Cycle. And it was like American Idol. There was 400 people, all under the age of like 22. And here I come, mom, 2 kids, like, hey, y'all, let's try something new. And I put the mic on my head, looked in the mirror, and I was like, this is what you're called to do. And the rest has been history.
Kirsten, I love every point in that story. And I want to call it a couple of themes because I think like there's navigating grief, there's being able to see and isolate what you want. And then there's also a thread of confidence that I think I would hope that you feel for yourself. And maybe it's just in you, but sometimes it starts with someone. Was there someone in your life that allowed you to or helped you to feel confident, and how?
Yeah, great question. I was raised by a single mom, and she has been my rock. And I remember watching her get dressed in her power red suit. She worked in the prison system, and she was the only female in the mental health unit. And she would just own every room that she walked in. And so I think she was really my first example. But a lot of people are surprised when I admit I have been terrified of public speaking for most of my life. Terrified. So you see this confident version of me now, but I think that is developed after you've gone through some hard things and you have to pick up the pieces and navigate things and then learn to just move unapologetically as you. And so I had my mom as an example, but I also feel like I had to go through the things that I've gone through in my life to really step into this confident version of me.
There's a lot there. I want to detour just for a moment because there's something I read about you that really lodged in my brain, and I just felt like it was worthy of a double click. So I love manifestation and I love big, lofty goal setting. And it sounds like in your story, you wrote a Post-it note that changed your life. And I want to understand how that happened and the circumstances surrounding it. I think it's very inspiring.
There is such power in manifestation. It really is. And so rewind, it was 2019. We're about to go into 2020. I'm navigating a divorce. We're in a pandemic. I'm homesick with COVID. I had to send my babies away for 2 weeks. This was the first I was like, oh, wow, I am alone. And this is scary. And so, and I was still teaching cycling, but like the world had shut down. And so I was at home and I had my Peloton bike. And so I was like, if I'm feeling this scary feeling, I know I can't be the only person in the world that's feeling it. And so I got on my Peloton bike, turned on Instagram Live. I had never been on Instagram Live ever. I didn't even know how it worked. I was like, are y'all there? Hello? And I just started teaching cycling. And I said, all right, every day at this time, meet me on Instagram Live. And I just started teaching. And the people got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then also at that time, Peloton was like exploding. Everybody was buying a bike because no one knew when we were going to get out of this. And so at that time, I have this area in my closet I call the war room, and I put Post-it notes and I write things that I want for my life. And in the Post-it note, I wrote, I want to be a Peloton instructor. Fast forward 5 or 6 months later, I get a DM on Instagram from Peloton saying, hi, we think you're awesome. Would you like to audition? And I was like, okay, this is it. If they ask me for my social security number, this is either fraud or real. And it was real. And so I auditioned. I couldn't believe it. But the also tricky thing with manifestation is you need to be specific. I just said Peloton instructor. When they reached out to me, I thought it was for the bike. Wrong. They're like, so we're going to ask you to do the one thing that you've hated your entire life, which is running. And we're going to ask you to be our newest running instructor. Good. And I'm like, again, in this moment of like, okay, I have two choices. I could be like, no, and let fear stop me. Or I can be like, okay, I'm now a single mom. I have to pick up all the pieces and figure out how I'm going to provide for my family. Let me at least try. And so I taught myself how to run and talk, and I learned how to be a run coach. I got all the certifications and started doing the thing that I've hated my entire life. And now it's like, I always say, I feel like God took like the thing that I hated most in my life and turned it into my life's work. And literally, like, I motivate and inspire people through doing the thing that I've hated my entire life. It's kind of wild how, like, if you just release control of things in your life and just go and do the things that scare you, it can blow your mind. And that's really the season I've been in for the last 5 years.
There are a lot of crazy things about that story. I mean, I love a good manifestation too. Right behind me is a vision board I made, which is the company I'm working on right now.
Amazing.
What I love about that story, though, is what it says about Peloton and what it says about you. What it says about Peloton is they saw you teaching classes on a Peloton bike, not as a Peloton instructor. And instead of saying like, whoa, Kirsten's a threat, they said, whoa, Kirsten's a liability. Or Kirsten's a value to us, not a liability. Nope.
Yeah,
thank you, Rachel.
No.
I'm tracking.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we've all followed. And I love the fact that like you were able to see in that situation what you needed to get through it, to learn what you needed, and to pour into others, which brings me to my question. People hear from you exactly what they need in the middle of a tough workout. Where does that come from for you?
A lot of times I'm feeling the same thing. You know, a lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, I feel like you're speaking directly to me. And I'm like, a lot of times I'm like, all right, keep going. Like, you got this, or, you know, whatever, you know, a lot of that stuff just comes to me at the top of my head. And, you know, so I think I'm pulling from personal experience and sharing from personal experience. And a lot of times I've learned that it resonates. You know, I think when I first started at Peloton, I had a lot of imposter syndrome because I wasn't a runner. And here I am coming to teach running. And how do I get people to believe that I'm a credible run coach? And it was like, I don't have to get them to believe anything. I'm just going to be me authentically and say, hey, come along with me on the journey. If you've ever thought about learning how to run, so did I, so have I. Let's do this journey together. And so it's kind of like I gave people the permission to be like, oh, I don't have it all together either. I'm going to follow her. And I've just been leaning into that ever since. And it's worked for me.
I think that is the secret sauce, because I know from a personal vantage point, when someone's too polished and has it too together, I find it a little unrelatable and honestly sometimes kind of off-putting. Like, that's not me. But when someone like you is willing to say, I am learning and I'm doing it and this is difficult and I'm in the trenches with you, come along on the journey, it's so much more welcoming. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I even created this season a program called Call Yourself a Runner, where it's the most beginner program we've ever done at Peloton. And it's literally taking you from walking to running. And the goal is to run in 20 minutes in total. And so it's taking away the fear of incline. It's taking the fear of speed away and like really pulling back the layers and saying, all right, let's start from day one. And so I think it is that. It's like, I want you to look at me as like your best friend. Like, we're going for a run. Like, you want to work out with me and you want to have cocktails with me. So, or both, you know? So. Yeah. Well, I can see that because your social media feels like this beautiful parasocial relationship where people who don't know you feel like they do and want to. So you've created this like magical ecosystem where everybody's like, we're friends with her. So I know you have to maintain that as an instructor, but then how do you do connection in your personal life and relationships? What space does that occupy?
You know, it's so interesting, especially as I've been navigating, you know, my world just kind of exploding since starting at Peloton. It's balancing like, okay, what's work, what's private? And then also, you know, I'm a Peloton instructor, but I'm also so much more than that. Like, I have this beautiful platform. So how do I make that grow, you know? And so it's building connections and community, both at Peloton, but also outside of Peloton. So it's partnering with brands that are in alignment with, my personal goals or things that I want to speak on or use every day. And it's, putting myself in spaces that I used to be scared of. Example, again, terrified of public speaking. Well, now I'm being asked to go out and speak to different women's conferences or be on panels, be in Cannes, meeting the whole world in the south of France,
Were you just there?
I was there last year. I had FOMO this year, but yeah.
I had FOMO
and so
too.
last year was my first year, and wow, was it amazing. But talk about connection and meeting people that you didn't even, think were possible. Quick story. I'm in the south of France and we're at a dinner. And, the dinners go long. I mean, it may be 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we're standing out there. And then all of a sudden I see this huge security guard walk by. And then they're coming towards me. And then all of a sudden this huge security guard moves away and it's ludicrous. And he goes, "Kirsten Ferguson, I take your classes. I'm your biggest fan." I'm like, "Wait, be cool, be cool, be cool, be cool, be cool." I'm like, Ludacris knows who I am. This is crazy. So talk about connections.
That's
he takes
amazing.
my class. I mean,
have you hung out? He must be in your world now.
Never.
No.
I mean, we meet each other on the leaderboard. That's it.
Did he tell you his leaderboard name?
I think it's probably Luda something. I don't know. He didn't share his leaderboard name, but when he out of everybody that you would think would come up to you and be like, "Oh my God," I was like, Ludacris, my 2000s heart exploded.
Oh my God. We are on the same era.
Everybody around me was like, I'm sorry,
excuse me? You have to breadcrumb him now and just one Ludacris song a class.
Correct.
Oh,
every
good
class.
idea.
This is for my bestie.
Oh my gosh. I want to tap back
That's
on
good.
personal. Yeah, I love that. I want to tap back on personal projects too, because I heard you mention your lovely platform. Is there anything in particular that you're working on right now that you'd like to share?
Yes. Thank you for asking that. It's actually a big day. This is the night before launch. So at Peloton, I created a class called Intention Setting Sunday. And it's a class where I share an intention and follow up with a bunch of affirmations. And it's I really just share my heart and things I've been through in life or things I'm going through, things I'm navigating in the hopes that it will also help other people that are on there. And since I created it, it has exploded. It's really kind of what I'm known for at Peloton. Anybody that meets me, they're either, "Oh, you're the president of the Ratchet Mom," or "Your intention setting walks made me cry." It's either or. It's called balance. And so it's a class that I'm really proud of, but it's also something that I incorporated with my daughters. So every morning before they get out of the car, I'm like, "What's your affirmation for the day?" And we'll share it. We'll talk about it. My one daughter has ADHD. My oldest, it deals with anxiety. And so we heavy on the talk about your emotions, talk about your feelings, where your heart is at. And so we started a project a little over a year ago that we are launching tomorrow. And I'm going to show you. It is our first children's book.
Oh my God.
It is called From A to Z, This Is Me, an empowering alphabet for young girls. And my heart in this is multiple layers here. One is the affirmation piece. Every letter has a different affirmation tied to it. But also, as you read the book, you'll see there's young girls, all different ethnicities, all different backgrounds, hair colors, hair textures, tall, short. There's a young girl in a wheelchair. So my hope was that any girl that picks up this book can see a version of themselves in the book. And it was such a beautiful project to be able to do with my daughters and say, "Okay, what does A mean to you?" And, talk about okay, got the affirmation. Now, how do we make that an illustration? And what should the girl look like? And, and there's also some Easter eggs in here. There's secret photos. One is of me as a kid, and there's some of the girls as a kid. And so it was a really fun project, and I cannot wait for the world to get this in their hands. Pre-sale is July 1st, but it will be in hands November 10th.
Oh, I just want to give you the biggest round of applause.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
To be an author, like, what an incredible milestone. I'm kind of feeling like you are a Trojan horse of a person, like Oprah of Peloton. You run and people might know you as this fitness instructor, but what you're really doing is improving people's mental health and well-being. And that's like the real gift. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what fitness has been for me. Like I told you my journey and how I got to fitness, like it was my safe place. I always say fitness saved me in a way. Movement has always been a part of my like mental health journey after going through what I went through. And so I really want to connect the dots for people. Like, this is not just about your physical. Like, I want to get to your heart. I want to get to your mental well-being. And I want more people moving around this world with kindness, And so if I could be a little blimp of light for them as they navigate life, then I think that's my life's purpose, really.
I have to tell you, I was cheering up as you were talking about the book, because I am expecting a girl.
Congratulations. We got to get you one of these.
I know. I'll pre-order tomorrow.
Yes.
The whole time you were saying that, I was like, I want my little girl to experience that. I want her to know that she can express her emotions. I'm curious. Was your relationship with your mom one where you could share emotions like that? And are you kind of taking that to your relationship with your girls?
It's interesting. I think when I was growing up, people didn't talk about emotions. People didn't talk about feelings and therapy. Like, we're all in therapy up in this household. Like, it's not like a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. And so that's really my heart also as to why I wrote the book is, I didn't have the space to talk about them. And, there's powerful affirmations in here. Like, I am amazing, but there's also one that's like, Y is for yes. I know that sometimes I need to hear no to build to a bigger yes. Like, there's some that like one about navigating emotions and feelings. Like, I want people to see that like you can go through hard things and we can talk about them, and it's a safe place to do that and to admit them. And so growing up, no. And I also had to navigate a lot of stuff on my own. Like, I grew up, my mom is white, my dad is Black. I didn't have a great relationship with my dad. And so I only really identified with my mother's side, but I didn't show up as what like my family looked like. And so I had to navigate like different hair texture, different skin tone. I went to a school where there were no brown kids in the school. And so I was bullied at a very young age. I was made fun of because of my hair. And so I had to navigate all of that at a really young age, and it was really tough. And so that's also one of the reasons why I wrote the book, is you can see your hair, and different isn't mean bad. Different is beautiful, and your uniqueness is your superpower. That's one of our favorite affirmations up in this house. I was also like this height, like I told you, in the 4th grade. And so I had a special desk on stilts. Like, there were things like I was just a different kid. And so I just want, young girls to know that like different doesn't mean bad. That's your uniqueness. And that's what's going to set you apart on this planet, and to own it.
Oh, I can tell you are such a good mom. I wish you could like swap into my house sometimes. Yeah. I mean, all
Girl,
of that.
No. There is no perfect mom over here. I am trying to figure it all out, girl. Every
if
day
it makes you
is
feel
a
better,
blessing.
During COVID, and those were not good days, my daughter goes, "Can you go to school for being a mom?" And I go, I would love to.
Wish.
I would love
I
a
wish.
school for being a mom. Yeah.
I wish. You little
Thanks
things
for
did not
asking.
come out with a rule book. Like, I wish you came with directions like Legos, like, but you don't. So I'm trying to figure it out. This is my first time, just like you are. Like, it's crazy.
Okay, I don't want to be Pollyanna and just like silver lining this whole thing, but you are kind of proving this theory I've been working on my whole life, which is that people who've had really trying experiences as a kid often become the most empathetic, compassionate adults because it wasn't always a smooth ride. And it's so funny because when you said you were the tallest kid in 4th grade, I was the shortest kid. Always. And I always felt like people treated me like a child and I was overlooked and I had to like really, really make myself heard because everybody just thought I was in a younger grade. But it's also difficult to be at the other end of the spectrum. And you just very vulnerably shared a lot of things that were really challenging. But I kind of wonder if that's what makes you so incredible today is that you can hold on to the hard and have so much more compassion for people. Do you think that fits?
I absolutely, because I've been there. Like, I know what that feeling is like. I know what it feels like to not even be heard because they don't even, like, when I first worked in corporate America, I was one of 6 Black women in that whole office, and so like, that's surprising to hear now, but like back then that was it, and so I'm walking into rooms and spaces where there's no one that looks like me, and so you have 2 choices. You can let that stop you, or you can be like, okay, I've got to pave the way. And I think so that's one of the things that I've really just put on my back is like, okay, if I see an opportunity where it hasn't been done before, let me be the one to lead the charge or at least try. I've also let fear stop me a lot in my life. And something about turning 40, y'all, I don't know. But like once you turn 40, like I really don't care what you think. Okay. Like I'm probably going to make a mistake. I'm probably going to say the wrong thing, but I'm going to try. And that's more than half of the people in the world that would ever try to do something that scares them. And so I think there's just like a confidence you have after you've been through a lot and you're just like, all right, like, let's just try it, see what happens,
Everybody has something to say about the person who's trying, but the person who's trying, if you're not paying attention, you get so much done and you can feel so accomplished.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. Once that day really happens where you stop caring what other people think, my God, it is like a breakthrough. Even like on social media, you're like, oh, should I post it? Should I not post it? Like, there's going to be somebody that's going to roll their eyes and be like, oh my gosh, she's so annoying. But you just sat and watched my whole video. Then there's going to be somebody like, oh my God, you changed my life. I love you. Right? Like, there's going to be both. So whatever,
Gina, I don't mean to jump into your question for a second,
cool.
but you mentioned there's been fear that has stopped you a couple times. If you don't mind sharing, I also love to hear the other side of like the big and good moments, but like when were those hard moments?
I mean, like I said, I was really struggled with public speaking for a very long time. And I would just say no. I would just be like, oh, I can't make it. Or, even when I had a big presentation, I'm like, I'm sick today. Like there's moments I 100% was like, ooh, can't make it. So sick, because I was too nervous to go do a presentation. And it even happens now. Like I was just asked to speak at our all hands. And for whatever reason, I could teach in front of all these people, but to get up and corporate, like Peloton's corporate, and to stand up in front of our CEO and like my boss and the whole company and they're like, okay, and talk. And you're like, and I almost said no. And I'm Kirsten, what are you scared of? Go up there and be you, but it's still kind of within me of like, I shouldn't, or I can, or I just don't want to, but I have to check myself. Like, is that fear or can you really not do it? And I think a lot of times it's fear.
I love that you've learned to recognize that. I think that also comes in the 30s and the 40s too.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Coach Kirsten for a minute. Millions of people know her, love her. She pushes them, she encourages them, and reminds them of what they're capable of. What is the difference between Coach Kirsten and friend Kirsten?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I don't think much. Like who I present on the tread is who I am in real life. And I think that is why I've had so much success. It's because I'm not faking it. Like, there are times where we'll finish running up a hill and I'm like, ooh, that hill was a hoe. Like, it's hard for me too. Like, I'm like, I am a real, like, oof. Or I'll talk about like things that happened, where I've messed up as a mom, or crazy things my kids have said, or like, I'm playing a song in the car and all of a sudden it's F this, F that. Like, like I talk about like real stuff that happens. And I think I also challenge my friends in the same way. And a lot of times if my friends come to me with something, I will ask them, do you want my opinion or do you just want me to listen? Because I think there's two different things. And I've been in those positions where I'm like, I just want you to listen. I don't want your opinion. I don't need you to fix it. I'm going to fix it, but I just want to vent. I just want you to tell me you're right. He is bad and he is this. Like, I need you to be that friend, Or I'm coming to you for genuine advice. I need your help. And I'm that friend too. And so I think Coach Kirsten and friend Kirsten are very, very similar. But I'm also like, as I've gotten older, I'm really, really particular about who I call friends. And my circle is small. My circle is so small. For a while it was big. I thought having the most friends in your life meant like success in life. And I've just learned that like you can be acquaintances with people, but like if I call you my friend, like my friend, I'm going to rock with you and I need that reciprocated back to me. I will give you all of me, my heart, everything. But if it's not coming back, it'll be hard for me to consider you a friend. And so when I show up as your friend, I'm all in.
I love that.
I know.
Yeah.
And I also think that's really wise, mature advice, because I too thought for a long time that the bigger the pool, the better better off you were socially. But then I learned about this theory of bathtub, jacuzzi, and swimming pool. And you could fit your best friends in a bathtub or a hot tub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And like the people that you would actually trust to be in the bathtub with you. You know what I mean? Like
very few.
Very few. Very few.
1 to 2 people.
Literally. And I think as you age or just in life, like it's nothing wrong with the other people. Like I will still love and support those people, but like there's boundaries that have been set as I've gotten older that I protect. And I've also learned that everything cannot be on the priority list for my personal mental health and well-being.
Mm-hmm. Rachel. Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm like a people pleaser. I'm just like to a fault. And then you leave yourself depleted. And I can no longer do that anymore. I don't have the space or the time for that,
Oh, we could do a whole sidebar on friendship lessons learned the hard way and how you impart those to your kids so that they make good friendship decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's what I'm navigating now. I'm in this preteen phase and I have a people pleaser daughter and, and it's navigating that and having those conversations and, she's going to have to learn her lessons too, but, trying to have those conversations with her now.
With you as a guide. Very lucky.
Yes. Guiding.
Fixing,
guiding.
Yes.
Well, Rachel, let's move to our connection conversation so that we can really milk Kirsten for all of her friendship guidance.
Yes.
You want to ask the first question, Rachel?
I do. Okay, so Kirsten, we ask 3 questions at the end of every conversation. And our first one is, who is the last connection that you made?
The last connection that I made was recently. I have my project coming out. So this has been like my my third baby. So I teased that this book was coming and everybody on social media is like, are you pregnant? I'm like, sort of, but it's in the form of paper. And so recently I've been just trying to connect with people for the tour. And I have this vision where me and my daughters are there. But I also really believe in this beautiful power of families moving together. Like it's both of my worlds coming and colliding. And so we're going to do book tour stops and we're going to read the book and we're going to sign the book. But also after that, we're going to go out for a family 5K with everyone that comes. And so it's, yeah. So it's building partnerships and relationships to help support that movement. Both once the book comes out and then in the spring.
If you have not booked your Chicago stop yet, I have an idea for you after this.
I have an idea too.
Okay.
I love it.
I'll table that for afterwards.
Chicago, I'm like, there's so many things we could do in Chicago. Don't you worry.
I know. Yeah. Okay, I'll save it, but we'll talk. Okay, Gina, you get the next one.
So I would love to know, as we're all women in our 40s here today, is there a piece of advice that you would give to your younger self about connecting or friendship?
All that we just talked about, like those are lessons that I learned, right? Like everything does not need to be on your priority list. It's okay if you're at the top of your list. Also, like boundaries are necessary. I call them peace be with you boundaries, because sometimes you love them, but you have to set up boundaries in order to protect your mental health and your space. And, I will give, but then you left depleted and you're like, why am I so tired? I didn't do any of the things that I needed to do today. It was because I was being a mom, being a coach, being a friend, being a partner, and so you have to learn how to navigate what's on that priority list and when and how to do it. And so I think I would say to myself, to your point earlier, like it doesn't need to be big to be meaningful, pack your people, and you don't have to. So like I mentioned earlier in the interview, I was raised as a mixed kid, like I'm mixed. And so I always, growing up, I consider myself a professional blender. So I can go into any room and talk to anybody, but then I feel like I'm putting on a mask to present to the people that are in the room. There's no more mask for me, and I would tell younger Kirsten, like, you are more than enough as you are. You do not need to change anything about you to gain respect of the people that you are meeting in those spaces, and just be who you are, girl. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
You are so self-actualized. It's so great.
It's life lessons, girl.
Yes. Oh, The grays are not my favorite part about getting older, but the wisdom, I'm happy to accrue it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So we did talk about Ludacris, but aside from him, is there someone that you, do you have another dream connection?
He was not on my list, I promise.
He was big in Cannes this year too, I saw. But is there somebody who's on your dream connection list that you have actually not been in touch with yet?
There's so many, but let's just manifest it. Like, I would love to, I had a dream the other day of the new Obama Center opened, and I would love to do an event at the Obama Center with Michelle Obama. And, she's always had a big platform for the youth and being physically active. And I think this book just is in alignment with her brand. And so how fun would that be?
I don't think that's unattainable. I'm sure they need a steady calendar of programming.
Yeah. So let's just manifest that
book
right now.
Book tour. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well, we have loved every minute with you, Kirsten. We could spend a million more with you. I'm so excited to pre-order that book, and I can't wait to hear everything else you learn, honestly, in the next year and beyond.
Thank you. Well, we'll have to come back for 2.0 and have this conversation again, because I feel like there's just so many layers to talk about.
Yes. And thank you. Oh, go ahead, Gina.
Sorry, Rachel. I was just going to say, before we go, tell everyone where to find you and where to find the book.
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram, all the socials. The name is I Am Kirsten Ferguson. The book also has an Instagram, which is A to Z, This Is Me. So you can find out all the updates there, book tour stops, where to get the book, where you can get an autographed copy of the book. My girls are so excited about signing copies of this book. It was so funny. Really quickly, the other day, my social media manager was interviewing Emery about the book. And she's like, well, I really wrote the book because my mom goes everywhere and she's always recognized. And now I'm going to be recognized because I'm an author.
The real star of the family has emerged. You have an alpha.
Yeah, I literally do. Like, oh boy, she is me. Here we go.
Oh, there's going to be shopping trips. They're going to want glam, upgraded accommodations. You're in for it.
I'm in trouble.
They deserve
it.
Oh, well, I want to help support this book because I think it's so special. And thank you for being as receptive as you've been. I mean, we could have just met once and that could have been it, but you were like such a warm and kind spirit. Yeah. And I love that we've stayed connected, and I'm glad you joined us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Lil.
Thank you.
Rachel, Kirsten Ferguson, such a great guest. What a fun interview.
She's amazing. I'm so happy that worked out.
I am too. I just want to acknowledge something I think we all not necessarily learn from, because maybe you've already come to this point in your life, but something that we can remember that Kirsten shared. There were a lot of moments in her story and in her life where some part of her said, like, what business do I have doing this? Or this will be hard, or, and then did it anyway. Chased the dream regardless. So had the fear, had the doubt, and decided to believe in herself anyway. And I just think that is such magical thinking. So I love that there's an example of that we can take into our week and beyond.
Yes. Building on that, I think there's two things that I'm still marinating on. One is because I've had the pleasure of actually seeing her twice in person. She is this statuesque beauty who is so radiant. And you might think, oh, somebody who looks like this and projects like this does not get nervous public speaking or moves through the world with confidence and ease. And I always think it is so eye-opening and so wonderfully relatable when somebody like that says, oh no, it's hard for me too. These are my challenges. These are my hangups. It's just affirming to know that everybody goes through it. And then I worry that I didn't give enough credence to some of the things that she said were hard in the beginning. I mean, her hard felt much heavier than me saying I was a pretty short kid. But the way she talked about paving and trying to lay a groundwork for other people so that if she could go first, other people could have an easier journey afterwards was so evolved and so beautiful. And I just felt like I wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, she's great. I'd run with her.
So great. For her, I would do a big run. Yes.
I'd do a big run. Yeah. I even do maybe a half marathon. Not a marathon, because I'm done with those. Maybe a half.
I would do a 5K.
Okay, great. I think that we can measure love, though. It's a sliding scale, and a 5K for you is probably a half marathon for me. Right?
Yes. The point is she inspires us. Yes.
Yeah, we like her very much. Rachel, would you like to do show and tell?
Yes. Okay, you have been, unfortunately, subject to a lot of camp thoughts from me lately, and you've been so patient about it.
I love it, though.
Camp is everything right now. So the twins who are going into 7th grade are at overnight camp for 3 weeks, which has just been the craziest experience because usually Ruben and I are out of town and we're living in Chicago with no kids in the house for 3 weeks. It's just surreal. But the show and tell is that we took them to the bus stop in Minnesota. And at the bus stop, there's so many families milling around and it becomes this huge reunion. And I was seeing my old counselors and my old cabin mates from 30 plus years ago. And they were now putting their kids on the bus to go off to the same camp and have this experience. And I think it's a rare moment in life where you actually see the wheels of time turn and have this like really deep-seated awareness of like, oh my God, I have switched roles. I'm the parent. My child's getting on this bus. They're about to go have this experience and they're forging friendships with the next generation. And so it was just the ultimate connection moment for me. It's like, this is why I send my kids to camp. I met my husband at the summer camp. I had a counselor who made the most pivotal introduction that jumpstarted my PR career. I am still friends to this day with girls that I went to camp with and guys. And so I think we're gonna lean into camp in another episode, but I really had like a true full circle moment. How about you?
Well, I do want to point out that reminds me very much of the very final scene of the Harry Potter movies. when Ron, Hermione, and Harry are dropping off their kids at the Hogwarts Express.
It was just like the Hogwarts Express.
It's just like the Hogwarts Express, exactly. You're obviously Gryffindor, Rachel. It's clear to me.
I read Gryffindor. Okay.
Yeah, you read Gryffindor.
Different form of magic there.
Or Ravenclaw. I would put you in Ravenclaw or Gryffindor, for sure.
So tell me about your show and tell.
Fine. So my
sorry, I don't know. I read Harry Potter to a point. I didn't see all the movies. I feel a little inadequate.
Oh, that's okay. Both of those things I put you in are compliments. Ravenclaw, they're the smart ones. Gryffindor, loyal. Both of those describe you. Okay, so my show and tell was at the time of this recording over the last weekend. We hosted our very first wedding at Petite Acres, which was lovely. It is always a team effort. And we had an advisor, a friend, Kate Krull, who is the owner of a venue in Milwaukee called the St. James 1868, who came to help. So she and her husband, Neil, made the trip. She's from Michigan, but still, like, she had to come from Milwaukee. And they made the trip to just be there, to be an extra set of hands. And the question was, how can we help? What can we move? What do you need? And it wasn't just for our team, which is another thing you kind of see in events. Like, generally, there are lots of teams that make events happen. It was for every team. So that was lovely just to see a friend show up that way, and offer her insight, support, and knowledge in real time.
And true hospitality, like to you as a friend and to the event that you're hosting.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What a wonderful person, Kate and Neil.
Oh, and I'm so happy you have a first wedding under your belt.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. Well, Rachel, that's our last show and tell of season 2, because this is the last episode of the season.
Another 25 episodes down. It actually flew by.
Yeah. Time flies with you.
Like,
thanks to you, our listeners, by the way, for being along this journey with us. If you like the podcast, if you've been listening along, if you like our guests, please leave us a rating or a review, or hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We love to see it. But this has been another episode of The Connection Code, which is a production by two friends, Rachel Gilman-Rischel and Gina Anderson-Cohen. Yes, this is the last episode of the season, but we'll be back in August. And thanks to Kirsten Ferguson for being on this final episode of season 2 of The Connection Code. We loved having you. We can't wait to read and buy your book. We hope you do it too, dear listener. Thanks to Ben Cleaver for editing this podcast. And thank you for listening to your name when we swear and mess up.
Thank you, Ben. And thank you, everybody else.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Shira.